Hello! Welcome back. It's been quite a while and there have been a few changes. So first of all, hello, I have pink hair. Although some of it is up in a bun because it's a bit, but yeah, so I now have pink hair and I love it. Second of all, you may or may not have noticed that the channel has had a name change. We are no longer, or I am no longer the mental health blogger. I am now Unapologetically Angie. If you follow me on Instagram, then there will have been a bit of an explanation as to why I changed my name. If you want to follow me on Instagram, all my social media links will be in the description below. So this is part 2 and hopefully the final part of my mental health Q&A. You sent in so many questions and I'm gonna answer the last lot hopefully today. If not, I'll have to make a third video, but we're gonna try and do this in 2 videos. So, question 1. This is from an anonymous person saying, what do you do when people tell you to talk to someone about your problems, when your problem is talking to people and that's what makes you anxious? So if it's talking to people that makes you really anxious, yet in order to receive help you do have to talk to people, I would say, first of all, try and talk to people that make you comfortable. So that could be close friends and family, but that can also be really hard to talk to people that you're really close to because you don't want to upset them and things like that. So if you can, talk to them first, because then when it comes to talking to a professional, it will make it a little bit easier. Otherwise, I would say write it down. There's nothing wrong with writing down everything you want to say and then giving it to either your friends or family or a professional. When I first got ill, when I was about 16, I used to do that a lot. I used to write letters to my mum and I would give her the letters, and that was my way of being able to tell her what was going on without necessarily having to have a face-to-face conversation. So yeah, I would say write it down. And try to tell people who you're closest to first, because then they might be able to help you talk to a professional. Okay, the next question is from Rosie, and she asks, what would you say to your younger self at the beginning of your mental health journey? So as I mentioned, I was 16 when I first started to get ill. And I think I would say to my younger self, don't be so stubborn. I'm a stubborn person, still am stubborn now, but I think I would have said to my younger self, don't wait so long to get help. Once my family found out, I was very reluctant to getting any sort of professional help. I did eventually try a couple of different sort of therapies and therapists, but it did take a little while before I was open to the idea of getting help. I would also say, as cliche as it sounds, it gets better. It's crazy to think sort of 4 years on I'm where I am now. That's not to say that I don't struggle at all, because I do. I'm doing great things now. I'm a mental health advocate, I'm doing a degree, I have a job, I'm just, life does get better, and everything passes. The next question is from Alex, and she asks, do you feel as though your friends and family have acted differently towards you when finding out about your mental health? This is a really good question. I'm a pretty open person, and a lot of the time actually, I don't tell people, my blog tells them. I'm very open that I'm a mental health activist and that I blog, but I don't necessarily have the courage to be like, okay, this is my story, this is what I've suffered with. That doesn't tend to come directly from me and usually comes from my blog. As for have I been treated differently? Treated differently, yes, to a degree, but in a positive sense for me. Of course, I've had some negative, some people who have just not really been accepting or haven't been able to handle it, and those people just aren't part of my life because, if people can't handle me with this, then, you're not going to get to know me any other, like there's no other way to get to know me. You've got to deal with me as well, being like an anxious mess or whatever. But I've 100% been treated differently slightly, in a positive way. When my friends and family know, they're a lot more accommodating, they're a lot more aware of things that could make me anxious or of me. So, you know, I'll have little anxious tics and people become more aware of them. One of them is that I pick my thumbs when I'm anxious. So my friends and family will kind of look out for that, and then they'll like sort of gently say to me like stop kind of thing, because it's not like very nice to pick up my thumbs and things like that. Or, you know, if they notice a change in my breathing pattern, they'll ask me if I'm okay. So yes, I have been treated differently slightly. It's not huge and it's in a nice way, so I don't see it as a bad thing. I think it's lovely that, you know, they're willing to help and accept it and treat me normally and accommodate if, you know, anything crops up kind of thing. So the next question is from My Journey. What do you think you would be doing or would like to do if mental health wasn't involved in your life? I would probably still be on the route of potentially being a teacher. But I do think that since having my journey with mental health and becoming a mental health advocate and through the blogging, that is where I see my future being. It's something that I'm passionate about and something that does need to change in the world. Obviously it's just finding out how to make that a reality and a job that does pay, because obviously I have to make a living as well. But whilst I'm at uni, it's all fine. I can be an advocate for mental health all I want. Next question is from Andy. Do you think self-harm needs more awareness? Read so little literature, blogs on it, e.g. why people do it, how they get over it, etc. I do think self-harm needs more awareness. That's not to say it's not present on the internet, because it is, but I think it's present on the internet in a very negative way, and more awareness needs to be given to self-harm in a way that is positive, constructive, and that actually does help people. Social media, as some of you may know, has a very dark side to it, and sometimes it can actually create behaviours in people, and I think the way self-harm is portrayed is either in a very romanticised manner, giving this idea that, oh, poor you, if you self-harm, a boy's going to come and rescue you and kiss your beautiful scars and things like that, which isn't at all the case, and there is a whole ugly reality to self-harm. It is a horrible, horrible addiction. For some people it was an addiction for me. So I think 100% there needs to be more awareness, and the way to do that, in my opinion, is through the media, but obviously it's hard to get the media to tackle things like this, so then it's down to mental health advocates like me and other great mental health advocates who need to tackle it in their blogs and try to reach whoever it is they have in their audience, really. Question, in fact the next two questions are from Kevin. So the first one is, how do you stay motivated to keep working to raise awareness, etc.? And the second is, what's your biggest achievement? What are you most proud of related to mental health and the work you do? So I'm going to answer these two together because they've actually kind of got the same answer. My biggest achievement and the thing that keeps me going is the fact that I am helping people. When someone messages me to say, your blog helped me through university, your blog saved my life, or something you did save my life, you know, the work, this particular post really helped me and now I'm going to seek help. Knowing that it's making a difference, that's what keeps me going with the work, and that's my biggest achievement, I think. Of course I've had plenty of, you know, great things that have come through with the blog. I'm proud of how many views I've got in less than 2 years. I'm proud of the fact that I've learnt so much about myself, and I've learnt so much about, you know, writing styles and, you know, how to work a blog and how to set up a blog, and I have learnt so much aside from the mental health things, but I think my biggest achievement is knowing that I have made a difference to other people, and that's what keeps me going with it, because sometimes it is hard. It's hard when you feel like you're not getting any support for your work. You question whether people are actually reading it. Are they liking your posts? But then I'll get the odd message and it'll explain how much of a difference I've made, and that's beautiful to think I'm just writing words on my laptop and it's making a difference. And yeah, I think that's what really keeps me going with it, to be honest. Okay, the next question is from Eleanor. How was your experience with mental health when you went to uni and therefore away from home and alone? Did it make you grow? Was it harder, etc.? Going to university was, in some senses, really hard for my mental health. I had to learn a lot. When I was at school, I was very much in a little bubble of support. When I was home, I was being watched if I wasn't very well, and my home life and my school life mixed in really well. There was weekly phone calls. There were teachers that were basically involved very much so in my mental health, and I had, 3 possible teachers to go to whenever there was anything wrong. If I wasn't very well or anything, then they were there for me to talk to. They would look out for me, they'd watch me, kind of like gauge how I was and things like that. And to go from that level of support to go into a university where A, you don't know anyone, B, no one knows you, all your struggles, because I went to uni, I didn't declare anything. It was tough, there was no one there to say to me, oh, have you eaten your lunch today? There was no one there to be like, oh, how are you today, kind of thing. It was for me to suddenly force myself to think, no one is there, like, you're an adult. And I had to say to myself sometimes, you need to prove to yourself and to others that you can do this, that you can go to university and be healthy. And it was a struggle at times, but I think I haven't done that badly a job. I'm still at university. Granted, sometimes I don't enjoy it, but I am still there. Despite the fact that I've had a few close calls with having to be pulled out or having to drop out because of my mental health, I haven't. So yeah. But it has definitely made me grow. I am incredibly independent now, and I can look after myself quite well, I think, now, which is quite good. I can recognise better when I'm not in a good place, and then I think it sort of taught me more self-care things. I don't know if this is making any sense. Basically, it made me grow, and I have learnt a lot. So the final question is an anonymous question, and they ask, why do so many people shy away from talking about mental health when it's such a huge part of everyone's lives? I don't understand why people shy away from it. I think it's just from past attitudes that it's weak to be mentally ill or to struggle, when in fact it's human. Everyone struggles, but it's weak to admit that you struggle. So you can struggle, just don't tell anyone about it. I think that's kind of like the attitude years and years and years ago. And that just got passed down. But little by little, where we're becoming more open about it, people are, like, they're admitting to their struggles. But other than that, I'm not really sure why, because it does baffle me why 1 in 4 people will suffer from a mental illness, yet it's still a taboo subject. I mean, it's 2017 and we should be able to talk about these things. And I see even like yesterday and the day before on Twitter, people being like, saying that certain mental illnesses don't exist and whatever else. And it's like there's scientific proof that they exist and people suffer from them. So how can you be so uneducated, because that's what it boils down to, being uneducated. How can you be so uneducated that you can have that opinion. And I think older generations find it really difficult to come to terms with things like mental illnesses. And I think it boils down to education. I think, you know, from primary school, children should learn to be aware of their emotions and express their emotions in a space that feels safe. And then in secondary school, you should learn about mental illnesses and how to look after yourself and how to be mentally healthy. You know, you learn in school how to be physically healthy. You have 2-3 hours of PE a week. Yet for your mental health, I mean, in my school, I got 1 hour in my whole school years. So you just think it doesn't equate. And I 100% believe your mental health and your physical health work together. If one goes, the other one is sure to go soon. You know, if you break your leg and you can't walk and you're like bedbound and you can't walk for like 6 weeks, that is going to get you down and you're going to feel pretty awful. Same thing, if you have a mental illness and you can't take proper care of your body, something will go wrong with your body. They are linked, and therefore they should be treated equally and seen equally, and there shouldn't be this stigma that surrounds it. If that answered your question, or if I just rambled a little bit, but yeah. So that's all the questions. Thank you to everyone who asked one and sent one in. I hope you enjoyed the Q&A. As I said before, any other questions, comment them in the comment section below and I will answer them. Probably not in a video now, but I'll type a little response back to you. So yeah, and I will see you next time. Bye.